Hello my friends, let's go straight to the front lines updates. We have some interesting news. Ukrainian army is pushing Russians in Vladimirovka and not far away from Pankivka. Just to remind you, this is the place of the big Russian assault which they conducted roughly 3 weeks ago and failed miserably. Well, initially it was the breakthrough of the Russian army, but they were not capable to control it properly, to supply it. That's why Ukraine was more effective here with the counterattacks. As you see, Russian army continued to be trapped in Kucherov Yar. However, from the information I have, Russia tries to reinforce this direction, pouring more forces, but so far without success. They just have more losses. Before, Russians moved towards Mayak and Pankivka, but now Ukraine counterattacks also from this direction, which is awesome. Awesome news we have. Well, generally it was yesterday and today, and I also see that Ukraine moved towards Ruzzians village, the small one, but could be crucial because it goes alongside this river, and there is the road which connects Boykivka village and Ruzzians villages, so Ukraine potentially may use this road to cut entire Russian group in Pokrovsk direction, and also Ruzziansk is not longer the target for the Russian army. For them, the main target is to secure their forces in this direction. For now, they're unable to do even that task. One more factor why Ukraine was successful here are Ukrainian tanks and armored vehicles, because Russia assaulted mostly with infantry, but Ukraine counterattacked using vehicles that mainly were not hit by Russian drones. My friends, on my Patreon page and also in the membership of this channel, I published unique content about our soldier. Remember the case then he pretended to be a Russian soldier and zeroed 2 of the real Russian ones. It happened also in Pokrovsk direction. So there was the interview conducted with this guy, and I translated it into English with my explanation of what really happened there, the story of our hero. So if you follow me on membership or Patreon, this story is available for you. The link for my Patreon page is available right in the video description below. Thank you guys for supporting my motivation to film more and more of those kind of the videos for Patreon and in general for YouTube. You're awesome. Now let's go back to this map. So potentially Ukraine has ability or capability to cut this entire Russian army group. Why? Well, because their supplies are very weak in this direction, and also there are just a couple of the settlements for Ukraine to take. So Russia could be in really huge trouble. We know that Russia accumulates forces, well, not here, but further away from the front lines, and they are preparing for the major strike. But so far, they're not doing huge movements. However, for the last 24 hours, Russians started the attack to Mirnograd using this road. There were 4 of the armored vehicles in the convoy. Guys, I'm still waiting for the video to share with you and to explain what actually happened there. But according to reliable sources, our commanders from the front lines, the Russian attack was repelled and all of the vehicles were kaputted. And this map published by different analytics, definitely Ukraine took Zatishuk and Boykivka under control. We had the confirmation about it 3 days ago. And yes, Ukraine is moving from 2 of those directions. Actually awesome. This attack, for example, to Rizne was possible because Russia lost control over Novoekonomichne. They tried to regain it, but they lost lots of the vehicles. And now Ukraine is pushing on the north. And Russia definitely has high chances to lose this part. Absolutely. And yeah, here we have the visual confirmation even that Boykivka, not far away from Fedorovka and Zatishuk, there's the presence of the Ukrainian army, this northern side of this bridgehead which Russia created before, but we're not able to hold absolutely. Wow, interesting case. You know what? Not just Russia is moving the forces out from the Sumy region, but Ukraine also does this stuff. We have the analysis from OSID Analytics. Judging on the current changes on the front lines, there was the replacement of 156 mechanized brigade which was sent to Pokrovsk. It was replaced with 47th mechanized brigades which came from Totkino direction, also not far away from this region. 156 has more of the vehicles, more army men, so they go to Pokrovsk. It means that Ukraine is preparing for the major Russian strike in the east. So I would say, yeah, it's important actually to trap Russian army here right now, because it might create difficulties for Russia in this sector. If they are trapped in here or here, it could be like a really severe challenge for Russians if they really want to intensify strikes and go on attack. In this case, they would have to resolve lots of the problems. And Ukraine also started a counterattack in Kamensk direction. This is the southern part of Ukraine, Zaporizhia, before Russians expanded this gray zone together with the red one occupying Kamensk and Plavny. I think it's already their third attack attempt to get to Stepnohirsk, but it's on a higher elevation, as you may judge from this military map, and Ukraine repelled the Russians again from this very small block where there is the school and everything, but Russians are trying to go to Stepnohirsk, so we have this latest update on this military map showing that definitely Ukraine had the small counterattack. Russians could potentially use this part because there are still some of the buildings to hide their forces. Maybe they'll try to regain it once again, we'll see. I think roughly 1 week ago I published this photo of the Russian FSB officers, the border control officers of Russia, who were caputed in Belgorod region. Well, here we have the confirmation about Ukrainian strike on their avant-post or checkpoint or headquarters, you may call it. HIMARS system in operation. It is a vaccine against the Russian FSB. It happened right at the border between Ukraine and Russia. I wonder why Russia kept their officers out there very close to the front lines in general, knowing that Ukraine has HIMARS capabilities. Very strange. But there are some areas on the front lines where Russia gains the ground. For example, here they advanced for the last 24 hours, expanding the gray area not far away from Ternova, and also in this field. There are no any villages even nearby. Also, Russia is focused to occupy Liman. I think they want to do it this year, judging on their attack vectors, which are coming from Sreblansky forest and also from this northern side. We may check out their movement. So it was yesterday, it is today. They a little bit expanded from this side in Sreblansky forest and moved to the tiny village of Davydov and to this lake near Novoselivka. Again, yesterday, today, gray zone expansion. The distance from Liman is now almost 9 kilometers. I would say quite close. Also, Russia moved towards Zarichne, I think the last months. The major Russian plan is vividly clear. Liman, they want to occupy and move to Slovansk from this side, but it will not be possible, I think, because there are just few of the bridges across the wide lake, and Russia wasn't able to cross the village in 2022, but they want to do it right now, which is kind of strange. I don't think that it is possible for Russians, especially now Ukraine may blow up those bridges. Using, for example, even aviation gliding bombs or HIMARS, Ukraine has tools for it, let's say. And also Russians try to offense here, but so far absolutely not successful. Yeah, there was initial breakthrough, an urgent situation, but Ukraine managed to mobilize emergency fire brigades to extinguish Russians here. And now there is the threat for Russians in this sector. Interesting. About Pokrovsk, no movement of the Russian army towards the settlement. Mirnograd, it was attack attempt, but failed. Konstantinovka direction, no movement from Russians for the last couple of days. So in general, I would say front lines are more or less stable and Ukraine braces to repel Russian major strike in the east. When Russia may conduct it, I guess this month. Alright, analysis of the Wall Street Journal. I understand it's legacy media, but nevertheless they researched the topic and they published some of the information about how far Ukraine may defend itself. And judging on the resources Ukrainian army has and obtains from partners, well, they say that the next 2-3 years Ukraine will be capable to defend itself against Russian aggression in the same way it does right now. So Russians will not be able to achieve major results, any sort of the occupation of the big cities and so on. So it may continue like that, but we understand that the next 3 years will be also under Donald Trump's presidency, who is a very unpredicted guy. That's the lightest form I may describe him, really. But the good thing that Russia is unable to reach its goal in Ukraine and will not be able for many years. And after all, we'll see how Russian economy may play out. But I think Russia still has friends to sell their oil and gas, unfortunately. So Russia may sustain this war also for the next 2-3 years. Maybe even more, we'll see, but no one for sure may predict that future. This night Russia again launched the attack on Ukraine, not that massive as the previous night so far. Well, I believe that Ukraine may also respond. Ukraine has capabilities, maybe not this night. I haven't received the information about Ukrainian drone or missile launches on territory of Russia. By the time I'm recording this video, just Russian drones were spotted in Ukraine and they're heading towards Bila Tserkva, maybe Kiev. Vinnytsia region, Zhytomyr could be also Starokonstantinov airfield of Ukraine, which has been targeted many of the times, but Ukraine has air defense and Ukraine moves airplanes out almost every night. And you guys tell a lot in the comments about Ukrainian Flamingo missile. Well, so far there is no really registered successful use of that missile on Russian territory. Well, there was the strike on FSB checkpoint close to Crimea, but it wasn't that successful, I would say. I mean, precision of the strike, not the power. And my guess that Firepoint company wants to upgrade missiles at first, navigation system, and only after use those. For now, mainly those were the test launches, but I'm sure that this missile will be used in the future quite widely. My friends, please check out my channel for more videos. For example, today I filmed about the massive attack of Russia on Ukraine, and there was also the attack of Ukraine on Russia. Ukraine hit Russian refinery, Druzhba pipeline once again. It could be also interesting for you. If you haven't watched it, I recommend it for you to watch. And we have members-only content, as you may see. Yes, people support me financially, so sometimes I publish unique information for those guys who support me, because they're making my job really possible. You heard it, yeah, members and Patreons, you are making this possible, everything that I do on YouTube. And not only on different platforms as well. For example, uncensored content, mainly I publish on Telegram. For example, just a few minutes ago I reposted the video where Russians went drunk and shot themselves. Real raw image is available out there. I cannot share it anywhere but on Telegram. And guys, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.